been waiting all season long for this opportunity to come where they can finally trash Brock Purdy and say, Brock Purdy's overrated. He got exposed. I heard Nick Wright early on the herd say that Brock Purdy is the wink link on the 49ers team. Like, what? How is Brock Purdy, a quarterback that's second in passing yards, leading or second in the NFL in touchdown passes, the wink link of this team? Oh, well, we saw what he was when he didn't have Deebo Samuel and Trent Williams and George Kittle. This is the argument about Brock Purdy that really infuriates me. Okay, because people make it seem like any quarterback in the NFL that's great can win without having a talented team. Do you not see Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs right now? He has no great receivers. Travis Kelce is washed. His offensive line can't protect them. And they lost to the fucking Raiders the other day. But I don't hear nobody calling Patrick Mahomes overrated. I keep hearing people say, man, you can never count out Kansas City because as long as you got Mahomes, you got a chance. No, you don't have a chance as long as you have Mahomes. You have a chance as long as you have a great quarterback and a great team around him. Name me one Hall of Fame quarterback that's won with complete trash teams. You can't because there isn't one. The best coaches in the NFL have great quarterbacks. The coaches who win Super Bowls do it with good quarterback play. The quarterbacks who perform at the highest level for the majority of their careers play with Hall of Fame caliber players or at least have somewhat good teams around them. Tom Brady never won a Super Bowl with a talentless Patriots team when he had no offensive line and no receivers. Give it, the best quarterbacks can overcome limitations, but no quarterback can just overcome not having a team that doesn't have either a good offensive line or playmakers around them. Name me another quarterback this year that's played at an MVP level with no good talent around him. It's not Josh Allen. He has Stephon Diggs, Dalton Kincaid, the best rookie tight end in the league, and Gabe Davis and James Cook, and a fantastic defense. Patrick Mahomes previously had Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, a Hall of Fame caliber wide receiver. Like, great quarterbacks need great talent to be successful. Why do you think Joe Burrow was so good out the gate with Cincinnati despite the fact that he had a trash offensive line? Because he had good receivers. He had Jamar Chase and eventually T. Higgins. Great quarterbacks can overcome certain limitations, but they can overcome having absolutely nothing to work with at all. Which brings me back to this point about Brock Purdy. Why are people using the fact that Brock Purdy plays on one of the most talented teams in the NFL as a knock against him, when all the other MVP candidates at quarterback have good teams also? Does Dak Prescott not have CeeDee Lamb, who's been a top 5 wide receiver this year? Does he not have Brandon Cooks, one of the best number 2s in the league? Does he not have one of the top 5 best offensive lines in the National Football League? Name me one quarterback this season that's played at a top 5 or top 10 level or has been better than Brock Purdy that's done more with less. You need a good team to be a good quarterback. I never understand this whole argument against Brock Purdy. Oh, well, he's carried by the team around him. You need a good coach and a good team to be successful in this league. Look at Justin Fields. People make all the excuses in the world for Justin Fields. Oh, he doesn't have good coaching. Oh, he doesn't have this. He doesn't have that. Which goes to show you how you need talent around you at quarterback to be good, to be great. Peyton Manning, you know how many Hall of Famers he played with? Jeff Saturday, Marvin Harrison Jr., Reggie Wayne, Dallas Clark, if you can consider him to be a Hall of Famer. Dwight Freeney on defense. Hall of Fame quarterbacks, 9 times out of 10, are playing with some Hall of Fame caliber players. Not for their whole entire career, but for a good duration of it. Tom Brady had Randy Moss, Wes Welker, future first ballot Hall of Famer on the offensive line that were protecting him for so many decades. Like, I get so annoyed with this whole Brock Purdy is overrated and he's only carried by the team around him argument, because it's bullshit. It is. Truthfully, you can't name me another quarterback that's been a Hall of Fame player at this league, that's won championships, that's done it having to carry a completely bad football team. I'm so tired of hearing this argument how Brock Purdy needs talent around him to be good. Duh! So does the rest of the other great quarterbacks in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes has Andy Reid, one of the greatest coaches to ever coach the game of football. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. He played with 2 Hall of Famers. You know what happened when Patrick Mahomes went to the Super Bowl in 2020 and he didn't have a good offensive line? They got blown out by Tampa Bay. Do you not know what's happening with the Chiefs right now? With not a great group of wide receivers and a terrible offensive line blocking for Mahomes? Yeah, their offense has been terrible. So, how is it that Brock Purdy has his worst performance of the season, 4 interceptions, not making an excuse for the performance because he did play awful, but to try to use this and try to just base your whole argument around Brock Purdy being overrated because of this game is stupid to me. Outside of this game, Brock Purdy has been really good in majority of the other games that the 49ers have won. This dude threw what? 4 touchdowns against the Eagles and the Cowboys and blowout wins. He outplayed Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott. I would take Brock Purdy this season over Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott. Give me the dude who always shows up in the big games consistently. Hell, he didn't show up against the Ravens, but he showed up in the other big games that the 49ers have won this year. Other than this game against the Ravens, his second worst performance of the season came Monday night against Minnesota. And he also struggled against the Browns. But 3 games shouldn't overlook what Brock Purdy has done for the majority of this season. This dude is one of the best quarterbacks in the game when it comes to throwing guys open, throwing with great timing and anticipation, throwing with precise and precision accuracy. He can extend plays. He's really mobile. He's way more mobile than what people give him credit for. You can't say that Brock Purdy isn't that good because he's carried by the team around him. Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes, take away their best players, and they wouldn't be as good as what many people believe them to be. Look at Patrick Mahomes this season. This is a down year for Patrick Mahomes. You want to know why? Because the talent around him is not that good. It's funny how quarterback is the most important position in the NFL. And it's the position that everybody gives all the praise and glory to. But yet people seem to underestimate how a quarterback is only as good as, the team they have around them or the team that they get drafted to. If you don't have a good coaching staff and you don't have talent around you, you know what you get? You get Bryce Young. When you do have those things in place, you have a quarterback who can overcome limitations. The better the quarterback, the more limitations they can overcome. But let's not make it seem like the majority of the NFL's best quarterbacks have played with no talent, because that's just not true. You see, people only judge Brock Purdy and say he's not good based on where he was drafted. He was the last pick of last year's draft. If this dude was a first overall pick, everybody would be riding his dick. Honestly, like how people ride Lamar. Like, you don't have to be Josh Allen, built 6'5", 240 pounds, and can throw the whole entire field to be a good quarterback. Drew Brees never had a great arm. He was never the most athletic, and he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Why? Because he went to a great coach with a great team, and he was a perfect fit for Sean Payton's system. Brock Purdy is a perfect fit for what Kyle Shanahan wants to do offensively. He doesn't need to be able to do all the things that Josh Allen, Lamar, and Mahomes can do. He just needs to play good within himself. And if he is a game manager, then he's a damn good one. People call Tom Brady a game manager for how many years? Same thing with Drew Brees. Who cares about being a game manager? Give me the quarterback who can throw accurate passes. Give me the quarterback who can win games. And that's what Brock Purdy has done. Jimmy Garoppolo has never been anywhere as good as what Brock Purdy has been this short into his career. And what's even more impressive is that this dude was Mr. Irrelevant. He was the 4th-string quarterback going into last season. Came in out of nowhere and balled out against the Miami Dolphins, having no first-team reps. Do you not know how hard it is to do? Do you not know how hard it is to get to where Brock Purdy is in his NFL career, starting out as the last pick of the draft? Mr. Irrelevant is a meme. People don't take that shit serious. He had a bad game against the Ravens. I'm not saying that he didn't. But all I'm saying is that this one bad performance doesn't mean that, Brock Purdy is a fraud. He got exposed. Brock Purdy is still a really great quarterback. He's a top 5, top 10 quarterback based on this season. And all the other quarterbacks who you guys would put over Brock Purdy haven't been anywhere as good. Jalen Hurts has sucked the last month. Baker Mayfield, Trevor Lawrence. These dudes haven't been anywhere as good as what Brock Purdy has been. And yeah, people will hold those guys over Brock Purdy because they're former first overall picks. Like, when do we get out of the habit of trying to judge quarterbacks based on who they have around them, based on where they were drafted? Because it's just nonsense. There's never been a good quarterback in the history of this sport that's been phenomenal, that's had a Hall of Fame career with a bad supporting cast. Normally, quarterbacks that do more with less end up getting traded or going to a situation where they actually have a good coach in a good situation and they end up balling out, i.e. Matthew Stafford. People called Matthew Stafford overrated for years when he was in Detroit. His nickname was Matthew Stat Pafford. Y'all remember that? And then he gets traded to the LA Rams. And the year he gets traded to a good organization with the Hall of Fame caliber coach, all of a sudden he starts winning. But I don't hear nobody calling Matthew Stafford a system quarterback. Like, Brock Purdy did not get exposed by the Ravens. The dude had a bad game. One bad game doesn't define you as a quarterback. And just because you're playing with talented players around you doesn't mean you're not a good quarterback or you're carried by the team around you. Like the 49ers, I doubt they would be this good with Sam Darnold at the helm at quarterback. When you have a great offensive mind, he's going to be able to win with damn near anybody that you have at quarterback. But there's been years when Kyle Shanahan has had Nick Mullins at quarterback, and their offense has been terrible. Y'all remember that year Jimmy G got injured and they had CJ Beathard and Nick Mullins in that QB? Yeah, they sucked. So this just isn't the offense where anybody at QB can have success. Oh, well, if you put me back there, I could be as good as what Brock Purdy is. No, you wouldn't, bruh. Shut up. If that was the case, why is Trey Lance now on a different team? Trey Lance had the same exact team, same exact situation that Brock Purdy had, and he didn't do anything with it. But yeah, Brock Purdy comes in, Mr. Irrelevant, 4th-string quarterback at the start of last season, becomes a starter, gets himself in the MVP conversation. Like, I get it. When it comes to the most valuable player award, okay, Brock Purdy probably doesn't belong in that conversation because he's not the most valuable player on the San Francisco 49ers, obviously. But let's stop trying to make it seem like this dude is a scrub. He's not talent. He has no talent at all. Being able to be an accurate passer and throwing with elite anticipation is talent. Not just any quarterback can throw guys open. Justin Fields can't. I'm pretty sure he would love to have Brock Purdy's skill set coupled that with his athleticism. Like, we live in the day and age of football where everybody thinks that size is everything, and it's not. Like, people still think it's the 80s and 90s, and you need to have a 6'5", 240-plus pound receiver. Or you need to have a 6'6", 255-pound running 4.43 quarterback and Anthony Richardson at the helm to win games. You don't. You can still win in today's NFL with the top 12 quarterback. And that's what Brock Purdy is at the minimum. The NFL quarterback market is so saturated that everybody thinks that your quarterback needs to be Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes to be considered as elite. Elite quarterbacks don't come down to how talented they are. It comes down to how well they're able to play the game, how well they're able to understand what defenses are throwing at them, how they want to attack them. It comes down to being able to execute, and Brock Purdy does that at an extremely high level. Who cares if he's a game manager? Who gives a shit? Can you throw accurate passes, and can you win me football games is all that should matter, and that's what Brock Purdy does. This offense is way better with Brock Purdy at the helm than what it ever was under Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo was inconsistent, turnover prone, and he just wasn't that good. He's a solid bridge quarterback if you need a quarterback to start for you for a year or two until you find your successor. But Brock Purdy is the best QB that Kyle Shanahan has ever had since he's been the head coach of the 49ers. Like, if Kyle Shanahan was just a genius and this just was a plug-and-play system, then Trey Lance wouldn't have been the bust. He wouldn't be playing for the Cowboys right now.